Yeah, start.
Good morning. Warm greetings to one and all present for live streaming of today's talk. Respected Principal, Wilson College, Professor Anna Pratima Nikalje, esteemed speaker for today's session, Dr. Harish Shetty, my fellow colleagues, and dear student participants. It has been a more than a year that all of us are living with a lot of uncertainty in our personal and professional lives due to the COVID pandemic. This has hit the entire world drastically in various aspects. One of the most important aspect is mental strength. Each one of us needs to train our minds to overcome the fears, challenges and losses incurred due to the pandemic. With today's talk, we hope to learn and acquire this mental flexibility to overcome all our fears and anxieties about the difficult situation we are passing through. I welcome all once again and now invite our Principal Madam, Professor Anna Pratima Nikalje, to address us. Over to you, Principal Madam.
Thank you, Radhika Madam. Good morning, everyone, and warm welcome to Wilson College IQAC and Cooperative Education Program CP 2021 in collaboration with NGO Foresight GASSCS for a YouTube live streaming talk on resilience secrets COVID-19 by the renowned psychiatrist from Mumbai, Dr. Harish Shetty. We are privileged to have you, sir, as a guest speaker. Dear friends, since last 15 months we are experiencing a lot of stress and anxiety due to COVID pandemic. Containment zones, lockdown, deteriorating health, death of near ones, death reports on news channels, killings of patients in fire hazards and due to lack of oxygen in hospitals, shortage of necessary medicines is adding to our stress. In such a stressful situation, it is necessary to have mental balance and care for mental health. Mental health refers to cognitive, behavioral, and emotional well being. It is all about how people think, feel, and behave. People sometimes use the term mental health to mean the absence of a mental disorder. Mental health can affect daily living, relationships, and physical health. Looking after mental health can preserve a person's ability to enjoy life. Doing this involves reaching a balance between life activities, responsibilities, and efforts to achieve psychological resilience. Conditions such as depression, stress, and anxiety can all affect mental health and disrupt a person's routine life. For our students and staff who are experiencing a lot of stress and anxiety since so many days, the online teaching, learning, the online examination, the surrounding around us, it is all a stressful situation. And in such COVID-19 pandemic time, now we have with us Dr. Harish Shetty to guide us. Over to you, Radhika.
Yeah, thank you, Madam, for your elaborate address. Now I invite Ms. Sakshi to introduce our renowned speaker for the day, Dr. Harish Shetty. Over to you, Sakshi.
Thank you, Radhika ma'am. Good morning, one and all. I, Sakshi Jain, on behalf of Internal Quality Assurance Cell and Cooperative Education Program 2021 of Wilson College, feel privileged to introduce our guest speaker for today, Dr. Harish Shetty. Dr. Harish Shetty is a practicing psychiatrist with extensive experience in the field of mental health. He completed his MBBS, DPM, and MD from TN Medical College and SAT GS Medical College, respectively. Dr. Harish Shetty has immense experience in school mental health and has conducted hundreds of workshops for more than 2 decades. He has championed extensively in abolishing the segregation of students on virtue of their marks and dividing them into categories on that basis. Thank you so much, sir, for doing this. Dr. Shetty has also been identified as one of the 17 young mental health workers by the World Health Organization. Congratulations, sir, for such a wonderful achievement. He
That's
has
enough
also
now. That's
founded.
enough. That's enough. Let's start the
Okay,
talk. Okay.
thank you, sir. We
Brief,
are looking
brief
forward to your
introduction.
talk.
Always brief. Always 3-4 lines is enough. Okay. Thank you.
Super. Over to you, sir.
Uh, as uh, as we begin Let me first share, boys and girls, men and women, friends. Resilience is the ability to face a situation and overcome it. And this is something we can learn. This is not God's gift, but genetic factors also do play, and they're very important. Resilience is not always equal, just like empathy is always unequal. Empathy, I would like to share that if your son is unwell, you'll take him to the doctor. If your friend's son is unwell, you'll give him the address of the doctor. Similarly, resilience is not always equal. For example, an army jawan may fight on the border, but he will not be able to argue with the rickshawala in Bombay. Okay? Well, one of your members in the family might fight a job loss, but he might not be able to take care of his own parents or his son or his daughter when there's serious illness. So we may get anxious during certain crises and we may not get anxious during other crises. But at the same time, learning from one crisis to the other is possible. And that I think is so important. So resilience secrets would mean I would like to share what I've learned across my life, and I would like to share what probably science also says. Let's look at Kohli. He is a man icon of resilience. And if people have followed cricket, you have seen him going up and down. He failed in the England tour once, some time back, and he came back to hit many good innings because he fought, he thought, he worked, and he did it, and he won. So that is what is actually resilience. Now let's look at this, balance the seesaw. In life is all about balance sheets, okay? Say, for example, if you want to save money, you bring down the expenses and increase the savings. So if the savings on the right, expenses are on the left, you bring down the expense so that the right improves, of the seesaw improves. Similarly, for example, if you have to be resilient during the pandemic, and what are your... No, wait. Mr. Mahesh, wait, go back. And you have to be resilient in the pandemic. So let's assume that on the right side you have energy, you have creativity, you have courage, and you have resources. So these are the positives you have. On the left, you may have a lot of stress of other areas of life. You may have issues inside your family. You may have issues with your friends. You may have a loan. So how do you improve the right? By probably prioritizing and saying, I will not deal with the issues of my family as of now. They can wait. So the right becomes much more powerful. I will not get involved in any other activities as of now because I have to focus on working for my family at the time of pandemic. So I reduce the debit and increase the credit, and that's how resilience is built. So anytime when you face a situation, cut the corners, prioritize, and act. Say, for example, if you have to go for your exams and your mom says you have to bring 5 kgs of rice and 2 kgs of vegetables, and your friend says you get me a glass of juice in the examination hall, and then another friend says please help me copy because I have not learned anything and I just sit adjacent to you. What do? You remove all these 3. Tell your mother, I can't buy anything as of now, and I will not get juice, and I will not allow you to copy, and strengthen your resources. So you have resources enough to face this issue. Resilience is all very funny sometimes. It's also about meaning in life. And at times, in the slums, we have seen a lot of taporis have suddenly risen to the occasion, and they're doing a lot of work in the slums. That would not mean that it's only the tapori you can be inspired, but meaning in life can also be Call of Duty. No, not the Call of Duty of your phone. Huh? No, I'm not talking about the game. Call of Duty is, I feel I should work. Something happens inside, and automatically you become resilient, you become strong, and you face the situation. Sometimes I still have an example of a man, a teacher, one of the colleges, not Wilson College. And that teacher was depressed for some reasons. His mother fell ill, and he suddenly found meaning in life. He started serving his mother in the hospital, and he did a lot of things for his mother. And suddenly all the depression went away. Meaning in life. Jeevanatle arth. Zindagi mein arth. And that I think is also very important. But you guys, young boys and girls, what meaning in life? You have to have your fun. You have to chill. You have to travel. Oh my God, life is dash. It's all hell. But you can start building your resilience muscles now. And as we look at the seesaw, we look at past positives. Okay, I always believe that resilience in one areas of life can help other areas if you look at your past positives. Remember the day when you had not studied at all till the exams, and the last 2 nights you sat and studied as much as you can. You got all the energy which you did not have across time, and suddenly that energy comes. I mean, अंगात काहीतरी भूत येते, कोई अंदर आत्मा आ गई, ऐसे आप इतने इतने पढ़ते हो, पूरे जून से लेके मार्च तक पढ़ाई हुई है नहीं, अचानक in the last 4 days some energy comes, and you really sit in the exams and do reasonably well. And this is your experience sometime in the past. What is it that you learned from this experience? You have learned that if necessary, तुम खड़े हो सकते हो. If necessary, you can show your Virat Swarup. If necessary, you can get all the energy and do extraordinary work. Can this happen in a pandemic? Of course, yes. If somebody is actually unwell among your friends and is quarantined, you can pick up the phone and call. You can also drop some food. You can also help him to get a bed, because the energy which is required is the similar energy which you actually used when you have not studied a page. Sometimes what happens is, when you don't study at all across time and suddenly 2 days afterwards you have an exam, you are paralyzed, you're anxious. So either in a crisis you fall or you rise. But if you have had successful dealing with experiences, which I just shared, it could be something else. It could be also your father was ill, and you are you are the black sheep of the family because you never took responsibilities. But suddenly you rise and you take care of your father in the hospital. I have seen so many mentally ill patients taking care of their close members of the family in spite of their illness, in spite of the treatment. Something happens inside and say, I have to stand and I have to rise to the occasion. And rising to the occasion is an inherent trait. And completely collapsing is also an activity which can happen, a state which can happen. But if you have risen to the occasion, remember the past positive, find yourself in a new crisis, recall the past positive, and absolutely live it on in fantasy. Let the energy come in your mind. Play the entire video of your past positives, and play it in all six senses, sixth sense being the emotion, and then stand up to this occasion. You'll find that energy which you had then comes again, is active again to a new situation, and you are able to deal with the situation much better. Remember, all of us have some past positives. There's nobody on this earth who has not risen to the occasion in the past, even if it's a 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 15-year-old, or 18-year-old. And so do not recall only your past negatives, recall your past positives so that it comes to use as of now. And as I look at the entire business of resilience, we also need to learn from our peers, which means in your college or as a teacher, in your teacher's room, you see friends. I still remember a teacher saying that this teacher comes and teaches extremely well, in spite of the fact that she's taking care of her father-in-law at home, who's extremely sick. Her husband has lost a job and she's taking care of the family. But when she comes into the college, there's a smile, and she's in a different state. When she stands in front of the class, she's in a trance state. Everything is forgotten, and she does what she has to, in spite of all the difficulties. What is the new learning there? New is you can completely block all your troubles of the past and rise to the occasion in the pandemic. You can actually have ceasefire of all the fights you have in the neighborhood, among your peers, among your relatives. Tani, उन्होंने मुझे शादी के लिए नहीं बुलाया, वो टीचर ने अपने बेटी के शादी के लिए सिर्फ 8-10 लोगों को बुलाया. मैं उनके साथ ज्वाइन हुई थी. I joined the college with her. We started the job together, but she did not invite me. I will not talk to her. No, this is the time. Forget everything and move ahead and see to it that you're available for help for yourself, your family, and everybody else. Which means, as the teacher about whom I spoke, what did she do? As she entered the college, she told herself, self-talk. Resilience improves by self-talk. Samaj ki boli, prachar ki boli, all the prachar and the publicity which is full of negative news. Self-talk has to fight the entire negative news, which means what? More than 85% of patients get well at home. Less than 2% of patients pass away. But for those who have lost life, it is 100%. And I understand that. And my condolences to all the family members who have lost their loved ones. I have also lost a loved one. So my condolences to everybody. But remember, you can actually tell yourself, khud ki boli, self-talk, which fights all the negative talk across the world, and tell yourself, this teacher can do so much. She doesn't whine, she doesn't talk. मेरे जिंदगी में क्या हुआ तेरे को पता है क्या? She does not behave like a Dhirupa Roy or a Gurudat. And as students, you have seen so many students, not from very, very rich backgrounds, not from very educated backgrounds. I know in Wilson College, there are some kids who are not from an educated background, but the kids are doing well. They come from long distances. They have no money, they have no education, but still they shine in the college. Still they stand up and say, nothing doing. I'm here to do my best. My parents have given me this education. I'm blessed. My college is taking a lot of effort on me. I will stand. I will not bother about the money which is there, the food which is less, and the education which is absent in my house. I will rise, which means I completely tell myself that I have to rise to the occasion. I tell myself that this is the moment, here and now. Today is important. I don't have to brood about last 10 years, last 5 years. माँ बाप ने मुझे कुछ नहीं दिया, parents have not given, they don't understand me. All those guys who say parents don't understand me, remember one thing, no parent understands the kids completely, and there's no need to understand. You have to rise to the occasion because you are responsible for your education. हिंदी में कहावत है, पढ़ाई और पहलवानी की उम्र निकल पढ़ाई और पहलवानी की उम्र निकल गई तो गई. So if it is even your career, your pandemic, you have to understand that you have to have ceasefire for all the issues, amnesia for all the things which you don't have, an exaggerated awareness for all those things you have in your life. And so learn from your peers who stand up in spite of everything. Learn from your teacher who comes on that day, stands in front of the class, and shares as if there's never a tomorrow, and that's the best class of the day. And why? Because she tells us her self-talk is, I have to do my best at this point of time. My kids are my responsibility. And you can say, I have to do my best for my father's infected, my mother's infected, or the job is lost. If my father has lost the job, I'll give tuition, I'll do something, but I'll earn my money. I'll not whine and dine. Whining and dining, not W-I-N-I-N-G, W-H-I-N-I-N-G, and dining, not right. So you have a choice. Suffering is optional. You can make it permanent, which means you have a choice to say, "Mere paas ye nahi hai, I don't have that. Oh my God! Oh, dash! I don't have this. My God, he has so much money in his pocket. Oh my God, he has all doctors in his house. He can take care of all his relatives. He is well connected. I'm not. Everybody is powerful. Human being is a social animal. Students are powerful social animals. Remember, Kargil war was won by young soldiers, 19 to 23. And today in the hospitals, the battle against corona is won by doctors who are just 22 to 25. Generals only guide them, but guys who fight on the front are young boys and girls between the age of 22 to 25. And Kargil was won by guys as young as 19. So learn from your peers, get infected. Anxiety travels much faster than the influenza virus. Coronavirus also travels if you're not careful. But resilience also travels. And resilience is as infectious as the virus. So let's get the infection of resilience from our peers, and let's keep the infection away. And that is so important. And as Mr. Mahesh Shetty is helping me here, when I was a child, I heard the stories of resilience from my parents. My mom said, I got married at the age of 17. I was just 8th standard, but I was a great singer. I used to play the harmonium so beautifully. And she's so bright, provided because she did not have an opportunity those days, she did not come up. And she said, I came to Bombay in the year 1958. And I did not know anything. I didn't know Hindi. I didn't know anything. But survival of the fittest. And I will fight. I learned Hindi. I learned Malayalam. I learned Tamil. I learned Konkani. And I survived. And she says she speaks and makes faral because of the influence of Maharashtra. And my father says he came to Bombay at the age of 6, worked from the age of 7, studied under the street lights, and did his law as well as his bachelor's, and studied in the night school. These are not glories, these are genuine stories. And when you hear this, you don't look at them with awe. When you look at somebody with awe, what happens is, wo kar sakta hai, main nahi kar sakta. I am born in this era. You know what? I am born when everything was pleasure. I'm from the generation of pleasure. My grandfather was from the generation of struggle. My father was from the generation of consolidation. I'm from the generation of pleasure. I can't identify with all these stories. But when they share stories, not glories, stories and glories, madhe farak hai. There's a difference. Glories would mean I. Stories would mean we, which means I was in difficult state, but my uncle helped me. This gentleman also helped me. I also helped this gentleman. True stories where there's pain, sharing, suffering, and also victories. So when you hear those little stories, you young boys and girls will get bored of the glories when they say I, but they will always be touched by the stories of people helping each other. One sentence which your father says, he remembers from his father or from his school teacher. That one sentence you guys will remember about your school teachers or your college teachers, which you're going to share with your children. So when you hear these stories, there is a lot of stimulation. Grandparents and parents will have a lot of them. Remember, not glories. Glories are stories where a lot of other things are deleted, where you don't share that it's not you, others also help you. So this is also so important. And it's not only your grandparents. Read about stories of partition. Read about stories of the World War. Read about stories of struggle actually around you. I have so many stories. My milkman used to get milk to my house when I was a child. His son grew up to become a lawyer. And I could see him helping his father at some point of time. And that's so important. My dear friends, resilience comes by observation. Resilience comes by assimilation of struggles of people around us. All of us will struggle with something in our lives. Remember that. There's nobody in this room among teachers and students who have never struggled in their life. Each one of us have a struggle. Each one of us has at least one story. And each one of us has some lessons from a story. And you guys also have struggled. How many breakups you have been through? I'm sure that by the age of 23, you may have had at least one or two breakups. And after the breakups, so many of you have come back to life. And then ask yourself, how did you come back to life? And there are secrets there. And there, my friends spent time with me. My mother understood me very rarely because so many of you don't tell your mothers that you had a breakup. My teachers allowed me to give my assignments a little late. And there were so many nice people around you. There are nice people around you. You have to keep your eyes and ears open. So what do you learn from that? You learn only one thing, that during your crisis, you can't be Amitabh Bachchan or one of those movies. मैं जहाँ खड़ा होता हूँ वहाँ से line शुरू होती है. You can't be the hero, the immortal, invincible, and unbreakable hero. You have to be a human being who seeks help. And resilience improves when you improve your connectivity. Resilience improves when you reach out. Resilience improves when you kill shame and seek help. Which means, आज CS Counter Strike के खेलने के लिए कोई नहीं है. You reach out to somebody else so that you have enough. You have a team to play that game. I'm just joking, my dear friend. What is important is you are not complete. There's only one complete man, that is the Raymond's ad, but even the Raymond's ad is not complete. So we're all incomplete. We're all fragile. We become strong also when we seek help. When we tell us somebody, oh my God, my father's admitted, I don't know what to do. I don't know, the doctor is not speaking to me. Can you help me? Yes, I know the doctor. I have a friends who know the doctor. I'll remind him and and ask him to speak to me. I have no beds. I don't know what to do now. I call 1,000 people. I will not sit down and say, मेरी जिंदगी खराब है, मैं और मेरी तनाई अक्सर आपस में बोलते रहते हैं, बेड नहीं होता तो क्या होता, बेड होता तो क्या. नो यार, you have to knock a million doors so that one door opens, and don't sit and cry and say मेरी जिंदगी में, in my life I have only sadness, nothing doing. That's your choice. You can break it by reaching out, and that is so important. Resilience is also about connectivity. It's also about killing shame and reaching out. My father lost his job. So what do? Many fathers behave differently when they lose jobs. Some fathers don't tell their families. They're very ashamed. Arey, what is there to be ashamed of? This is an extraordinary situation. You lose job because it's an extraordinary situation. It's not your fault. So some people don't come and tell. The second is, some people make a face in the house as if the others need to know what happened. And some people come and say, your pocket money is cut. No Swiggy, no Zomato, we have to eat inside. Do you know why I've lost the job? No, yeah, that's not the way. Tell your father, teach them basics of emotional sharing. As our principal just shared so beautifully about mental health. I loved what she said. So beautiful, so touching. Tell your father, बैठेंगे शाम को, we'll sit in the evening, we'll chill, we'll have a food, and you tell us what happened. And when he says, my dear family, I've lost a job and I feel sad about it. Of course you'll feel sad about it. When we all feel sad, and from sadness comes a new idea. Sadness is a positive emotion. Sadness can also give you creativity. And when we all share the sadness, it gets divided most of the times. And when you share your crisis, you get support. When you inform your crisis, mera job gaya, you become isolated. So one of the most important lessons is, in trouble, share your feelings, you get support. You just inform somebody, you simply remain isolated. That I think is so important. So observe parents, grandparents, neighbors, teachers, and believe that resilience is very infectious. It improves when you connect. It improves when you say, I don't know what to do. It improves when you kill shame and seek help. And as we move ahead and understand resilience a little better, I think 95% of the people here in the class would not know what I'm saying. No, because history is not taught the way it should be taught. We finish Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar in one page or half a page, unless you're a student of history. I still remember this year. I was not born that time. I was not alive. 20th March 1927, a certain section of the community were not allowed to take water from the same tank at Mahad. That happened in India. And one of the most inspirational figures in my life is Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. It's not cool not to talk about Ambedkar. It's cool to talk about Jeff Bezos. It's cool to talk about the divers of Bill Gates. It's cool to talk about anything the West. Look at our history and you see struggles, and where you learn the stories of resilience. You build your muscles of resilience. There are enough stories in our country. And this man led a satyagraha. And for the first time, a lot of people were never allowed to drink water from a tank allowed, could for the first time drink water and assert their rights, that water does not discriminate between castes. Water does not discriminate between race and culture. That struggle is one of the most inspiring struggles for me. It has built my muscles of the mind and my resilience. And what is the lesson I learned? It is cool to talk about Babasaheb Ambedkar. More cool than talking about why Bill Gates got divorced. And more cool than talking about Jeff Bezos. Padho yaar, read. Go beyond your coffees, tea, chilling, and dating, and read about the small struggles that happened. There are millions. I chose this because this touched my heart a lot. And what did I learn? I said, if ordinary people can go and assert their rights about water, that does not discriminate between anybody, I also feel that I can assert my rights during the pandemic for my vaccine, for my right to have a bed, for my right to have medicine. I will not fold my hand and sit down. I believe that man is a social animal and all inspired human beings are powerful social animals, and inspiration can come from anywhere. It can come from your genes, it can come from Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. My dear friends, as you go back, read in detail about 20th March 1927, Chaudhar Tale Satyagraha. Read a little more about Mr. Ambedkar because we have not been taught in history. He has been finished in a few lines, and a lot of history is taught about people who probably are not so important for the future of the country. And so resilience come from inspirational stories. Abdul Kalam is one of my favorites. And he said once when he left everything and he failed in an interview of the Air Force, he went to Hardwar and he met a teacher, and he writes, when a student is ready, the teacher appears and he comes back and changes his future. One man. So what do you learn? You don't say, oh my God, Abdul Kalam, I may not become Abdul Kalam. He is there. And no, every Abdul Kalam, every Nehru, every person on this earth who has done something great, Martin Luther King, has something to teach, has something which we can imbibe, inculcate, and actually, when you inculcate and imbibe, it becomes part of your flesh, part of your RNA and DNA, and you start acting in a manner not as much as Martin Luther King, but some part of Martin Luther King. I have a dream. You should all listen to his speech. Resilience comes when you hear, read, talk, and discuss these events on the earth which are very historical. This lady, Salumarda Thimakka, planted trees. The couple did not have children, so they just planted trees and they built forests. Ordinary villager. Let me ask you, where did the inspiration come? It's all from there. She said, I should build trees. And there are so many like them in the country. So many like them in the country. Are they great people? Are they dynasts? Are they born from people who are very rich? Very educated? No. Ordinary. She's 105 years old now. She created forests. She and her husband. And from humble beginnings. And how did she do it? अंदर से आवाज आई, दिल की खिड़की में आवाज आई, आत्मा जागृत हो गई. And when the soul is awakened, and there's no God, nothing there, just internal voice. And with that internal voice, Thimakka said, I will give birth to a lot of trees and forests. And she created forests. And you may not have heard about this lady. Very few in this audience among the students may have learned about this lady. Please read about us. So resilience can also come from the achievements of ordinary people. It may not come from the achievements of people who are blessed with everything. Because you might say, अरे उसके पास तो सब कुछ था, उसका father emperor था, emperor का बेटा को क्या उसमें है? But when you read the stories and when you feel, don't read it as an academic exercise. Feel the story. Feel the story inside your heart and just visualize how the forest came upon barren land, and visualize and feel in all six senses what she should have felt as the trees grew to create forests. So again, I have given you two examples, Chaudhar Tale Satyagraha at Mahad, 1927, and story of Thimakka, which you should go back and actually read. It's much better than stories of a lot of people whom you see in the newspapers. It's much better than me and all of us in the room. And that also builds resilience. So, resilience is also dependent on your mental health, okay? If you're not taking care of your mental health, there's no resilience. If you have emotional dysregulation, I repeat this word, if you have emotional dysregulation, मैं मुफ्त हूँ. I don't care. I care a dash for others, and I just say what I want. I don't care for the teacher. I told her on her face, and you feel proud about it. What did you tell her on her face? on the earth, you don't have to win a battle of wits. You don't have to win the battle of उसने ही बोला मैंने बोल के आया क्या मैं क्या किसी का सुनता नहीं हूँ क्या मेरे को पका मैं तोड़ के अरे यार मुफट होना फटकल रहना reacting to something is because your prefrontal cortex, which is the brain which differentiates us from chimpanzees, is not working. Your amygdaloid body, which is there in the brain, which helped us when we were in the Stone Age, fight, flight, is active before you think, you talk. And sometimes emotional dysregulation can destroy your academics, your career, and your life. So emotional regulation is very important, which means you experience your emotions, joy, anger, sadness, love, fear, envy, sometimes shame and guilt, and you're able to see, you're able to watch your emotions, you're able to watch your emotions, watch your thoughts, watch your sensations. That means you're aware. Your sense of awareness is very good. And for sense of awareness, you need to give some time of the day for yourself. Hey, doc, don't tell us all this bullshit. I can't sit down and be in silence for 15 minutes. Don't inform us. We don't like this. We like to chill and probably have something and chill. And sometimes, you know why? When we take weed and hash, not you, in Wilson College, nobody takes weed and hash. Wilson College, no weed and hash, Baba. But if you take weed and hash, other weed and hash, I feel lies, I feel aware, and all bullshit. My dear friends, yoga is cool. I'm not saying this. The United States Navy has asked all the Navy SEALs or Navy sailors to do yoga on the ship. United States Navy, not me, not Avatar or Patanjali. Which means what? Either you do yoga, either you do Vipassana or Tasbih or Rosary, but being in touch with yourself. Mind and body talk to each other all the time. And they need to be in good relations. If they fight, the organs start crying. Pancreas says, I will not give you insulin. The stomach says, I'll give you tons of hydrochloric acid. Liver says, I will not throw the toxins out of my body. And the calcium says, I will go and settle in the vessels of the heart so that we have to have a stent at the age of 25, 30. My dear guys, my dear boys and girls, self-awareness, manje. 15 minutes a day, just stay silent and watch all your thoughts and feelings. Do a little of breath, deep breath, yoga, deep inspiration, deep expiration, so that the mind and the body are in touch. The parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system are doing well, and actually the hypothalamo pituitary adrenal system is intact. And so good mental health is necessary for good resilience. Self-awareness is also about praying to God, to your God, and not asking God to do things for you. Gathering courage from God also is self-awareness. Self-awareness also improves when you exercise. The self-awareness is being in a trance state. Exercise gives you a trance state sometimes. Exercise would not mean those ritualistic, obsessive exercise. I want to walk 5 kilometers. Don't come in between. And some of these guys are so angry when they exercise. That's not exercise. Exercise is joyous exercise, yeah? Joyous. And if you can't exercise outside, no gym, walk inside the house up and down. There's no need to lift your weights all the time. There's no need to give muscle. Life doesn't run because of muscle, and life doesn't run because of protein shakes and injections to improve your muscle. Life runs because your mind and body reasonably align. So that we align ourselves with nature. Self-awareness could be anything what you would want to do. And yoga is cool. You guys, Americans are doing it. So that also helps you to respond to a situation rationally, effectively, and face the situation. Sometimes you win the situation, sometimes you lose. But when you lose, you can minimize the damage. You can mitigate the damage. You're not as dashed as you think you can be, and you come back to life again. Which means, if you are self-aware, you will avoid a catastrophe, but you might meet with an accident. And you're not ashamed of your feelings, which means you feel like crying, you'll cry, because families that cry together heal together. When you feel like saying that I'm down, I accept myself as I'm down, and that's where I stand. So that is something which is very, very, very important. And And one of the most important things and one of the most important things as of now is resilience and love. Oh, there are enough people. मुझे जिंदगी में किसी ने प्यार ही नहीं किया. I mean, nobody has loved me at all. You know what, Dr. Shetty? I never received love from a mother, for anybody. All those guys are lying because their antennas are not sharp enough to receive love. Yes. Small dose of love is there everywhere, but you're not alert. When a mother says, you must be tired, my son, take this glass of water, you are looking at the phone at one hand and picking the water without looking to the eyes of your mother. That is love. When you go and tell your mother, I'll take you to the doctor, I know you have fever, but I'm not worried, I'll wear my mask and take you to the doctor to do a test, that is love. When you tell your mother, Mom, sleep, I'll heat the food and I'll serve everybody, that's love. Don't look at big doses of love. Big doses of love are seen. Big doses of love generally do not get, you expect, you anticipate, my ex-girlfriend will actually give me a call and she will wish me on my birthday. She may not call. The man's greatest quality is to be able to receive small dose of love. And you believe that you have love in your house, your parents, and you're able to really be aware of those experiences of love. I still remember, I can still feel my mother's hand taking me to the school when I was a little child, the father's hand here. My mother really fed me so much when I was very sick. I still can see it in front of my eyes. And if you're able to be in touch with these experiences, you are there. So love is not only about erotic love, it's not about your girlfriend and your boyfriend, your husband or your wife, it's about all the people around. The rickshaw says, Rehne do benji, 10 paisa, agle janam mein dena. That's a small dose of love. So when you accumulate small dose of love, things are much, much, much better. And as we slowly close, please show that last slide. Across time, when you build your self-esteem, that's very useful for love. And as we slowly close with the last two slides, which Mr. Shetty is going to show, the next one. The 5 P's of resilience is patience, perseverance, pragmatism, and presence of mind. The first 3 we always know, but pragmatism means being practically there, being a thing which you can apply. Presence of mind is the creativity, which is extremely important. Next, Mr. Shetty. My dear friends, all of us are innocent, and if you can see this innocence inside us, you are there and you'll be able to face as many situations as you can. And as I end by showing my last slide, I would show my last slide by saying that it's Patanjali and Gautam Buddha, who are the greatest mental professionals on this earth. Patanjali gave us yoga. Gautam Buddha gave us mindfulness, vipassana. Mindfulness is also same as vipassana. For mindfulness, you have to pay. It's patented by many Western agencies, but vipassana is free of cost. With this, I stop. My dear friends, boys and girls, stay alive. There are many girls worth living for and no girls worth crying for. There were many boys worth living for and no boys worth crying for. Your future is not stuck. We are on a pause button. Let us understand that we need to preserve our dream, postpone our dream, and protect our dreams so that we can live our dreams in the future. Don't whine at all. Just understand that at this point of time, we all are sacrificing freedom of not going out for the survival of our family, our grandparents, and our parents. With this, I thank the principal, the vice principal, and everybody involved in this beautiful process of allowing me to help understand resilience secrets. Thank you, Professor Maske, for chasing me all the time, and thank you, everybody.
May we request all the participants, if they have any questions, could you kindly post in the chat box and we can pick from there. Sir, I think everybody's awe-stricken now.
No, there would be questions on the YouTube.
Yeah, from YouTube only we'll pick it up, sir.
Sir, there is a question. How does gratitude or feeling of gratitude helps in resilience?
Can't hear you. I didn't really hear you properly, sir.
How does the feeling of gratitude helps build the resilience?
Absolutely, absolutely.
In
Teachers
what way?
appreciate.
I'm looking at biological point of view. How does that help?
Okay. Gratitude in any form is very, very useful, very, very useful across all age groups. But there are different types of gratitude. Sometimes gratitude comes only from the vocal cords. It makes no sense. Saying thank you as mechanically makes no sense at all. That is very important to understand. If it becomes very, 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 very routine, it makes no sense. But if you feel it across the body, inside the body, across your being, so it changes your neurochemistry. It helps your hippocampus to feel better. It helps your limbic system to feel better. Though you might use a lot of technical words, oxytocin, endorphins, serotonin. All that is fantastic. But what is very important is enough research has been done by showing that kindness and gratitude can change the neurochemistry. But what happens in India, isn't it? The 10th standard kids clap very well for the teacher, the principal. 11th, 12th also they clap. Once they start getting educated, the claps become like this. And for many adults, gratitude is a mechanical thing of saying, "I'll pray for you." Do you actually pray for the person? No, it's just a matter of saying. So gratitude has to be genuine. It has to be from within. You can actually say it with your eyes and your body. So it has to percolate every cell of the body. Then it works. But remember one thing: when you clap for somebody, your heart opens. It's not for the other person. Your heart opens. You feel enthused. You also feel connected. And gratitude helps you to connect the world with each other. Gratitude helps your alpha, beta, theta, and delta waves. Your SA node which beats to be connected with the entire universe. It aligns you with the universe.
Thank you, sir. There is a question by Atharv Kanti. I have a question. When you have situation when many of your close friends stop talking, what should we do to improve the situation?
Close friends?
Stop talking.
Oh, yes.
What should
First
we do
is
to
give them space. Maybe don't start thinking. Probably he or she has got something against me. Probably he or she has something else in her mind. If you say hello to everybody as a friend, and sometimes when you walk past somebody and you say hello, but he or she refuses to answer you, remember there could be different reasons. He has not seen you. She has not seen you. She's got something in her mind and she's thinking. She has some issues in her mind and she's constantly brooding. And so there could be so many things. Don't get into cognitive errors that I'm responsible. He's not talking. Once that is over, you always pick up the phone and say, or because SMS, are you all right? It's a long time we have not talked, and that is very healthy. But don't say nowadays you don't speak to me. I said so much. I sent you 10 SMS. You did not send even one. You know how hurt I am. Hurt is an interpretation. Suffering is optional. You can make it permanent. Keep the bag of reasons broad. Don't get cognitively hit. And remember, when you say, "Hey guy, बहुत दिन हुआ बातचीत नहीं हुई यार, क्या ठीक हो ना सब कुछ?" Then police say, no, I'm actually upset because somebody in my house is unwell, and you might make him or her share something which he wanted to, but he or she did not feel like, or he or she was so numbed. Nowadays in the pandemic, we get so numbed that we are not able to open our minds and talk to somebody. When you're numbed by all negative news, you get locked. And when you get locked, you don't feel like sharing. So it's important to put across an SMS or a talk. And if he says, no, I don't speak to you because I asked you something and you did not really give it to me, then you can always say, I never realized this, but maybe I forgot. But if that person provokes guilt inside you, leave him alone. तेरे वजह से क्या हुआ पता है? Because of you, I got dashed. Because of you, you know what? You are responsible for my breakup. I mean, with all these comes which are probably not true. You protect your mental health and say, Tata, bye bye. You settle down and probably at the right time will speak. So do not chase a person to expect love from everybody. These three fallacies in our lives. Everybody should love me. I should love everybody, and the situation around us should be such that it should be really conducive to us. And we are taught in life, even if you can't do anything for somebody, don't hurt them. No, hurt is an interpretation. If somebody says something, I have a right to deflect that and not get hurt at all. So these are the aspects of when somebody is not speaking to you, what you should do. Thank you for that question.
So there is the next question by Harsha Ghadi. When people seek for help but don't have the money to get professional diagnosis, do you think self-diagnosis can suffice?
Well. Moch. Man ka moch or man ka fractures. Painful mind, fracture mind. Sometimes you can rate yourself on Patient Health Questionnaire 9, PHQ 9. And you get a rough understanding of whether you are mildly depressed, moderately depressed, or sadly depressed, but that's not a diagnosis. There are enough departments in the city of Bombay which are free. There are enough psychiatrists, including me. No patient in my place, in my clinic, in my hospital has left the place because he or she has no money. It never happened in my life. My parents taught me this. Nobody will leave my place for want of them. So enough places. So self-diagnosis is very dangerous. You might get an indication from certain skills that you are very distressed, but for confirmation, you need to go to somebody and do it. And there are so many guys saying, homeopathy is my hobby. What hobby? You go to a homeopath if you want to. Ayurveda is a little hobby. No hobby. Allopathy is a hobby. No hobby. Go to trained professional psychologists or psychiatrists to understand where you stand. Building emotional equity and emotional wealth is very important. Emotional wealth is drained now because of so much of stress. So building it is much more important than building a financial wealth. Emotional equity means trying to be equitable to each one of us around us, whether the person rich, poor, educated, or uneducated, without any bias against anybody. Thank you for the question, Mahesh. Professor Mahesh bolne na?
Sir, I am also Shetty.
I know, but they spelled your name. Your name is I. S-H-E-T-T-I,
Yes.
you know?
Sir,
Thank you.
there is the next question from Mithil. When I am helping someone, how do I know if I am doing it for them as purpose or being selfish, so that I can tell myself that I am a better person than I think I am?
Well, if you see, there is no sacrifice on this earth. All the sadhus and saints, they went away because they wanted to, they loved to. And when you help somebody, you do it because you feel nice. Kindness is a positive attitude. Kindness improves immunity. And you don't do it for immunity, but it incidentally improves immunity. It improves your mental health. So you do it for yourself. You don't do it for quid pro quo. मैंने ऐसा किया तो वो मेरे को ऐसा करेगा. But it's so important that people, when you do something, they remember. And they probably would want to do something for you. But remember one thing, don't expect. The world is talking. I have done so much for my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, for my those friends, but he never did anything for me. When I was in trouble, he did not come. Arey Baba, remember one thing. Have you played the game Kho? These boys and girls may not have heard about Kho. In Kho game, you go and give Kho to somebody, and don't expect that person to come round and give you Kho. He gives Kho to somebody else. Life is like a coco game, moving around in circles, not knowing who will touch you when. You remember all those people whom you have helped, but you forget all the others who have helped you, but they may not be the same, which is very important for us to understand.
So next one is from Viola. You said we are always receiving love, but can we say that the same for people, children that live in abusive households and toxic environment?
Very true. A toxic environment has to be changed, an abusive household has to be fought. I mean, to some extent, we need to do that. But what happens when you live in an abusive household or a toxic environment? The mind is enveloped with anger and sadness. The mind is enveloped with a lot of pain and resentment, and it blocks all those other experiences of love which you've got. So it's extremely important to understand that if you have faced a big calamity, say, I'll give you an example. There are so many young adults who come and say, I don't remember anything about my childhood. What does it mean? The childhood is blocked because there's some event which has happened, abuse, sexual abuse, or physical abuse, or trauma, that has blocked all the good things that has happened to you. So it's very important to understand that if there's been trauma in childhood, abuse in childhood, and if you're an adult now, we can repair that even today, which means those guys who abused you may have died, they're not with you, but the stories are here. So life is full of stories. Problems are stories going wrong. Counseling is repair of the stories that can be done at any point of time in life. So it's important to understand that even in a very abusive household where abuse supervenes and you need to intervene, there are others around you who are kind to you, but you have no memory of those things, because in life generally human beings love to have amnesia of the negatives and of the positives and exaggeration negatives, and abuse can be corrected in the mind even late in life. Thank you, Vaila, for that sensitive question.
Next question by Supravi. Sir, what would be some tips to be more content with the current ongoing situation of being at home and not let it go the better of you, not let it get a
Absolutely.
better?
The predominant emotion at home is anger and irritability. Irritability is anger in motion. Anger is a positive emotion. Aggression is a negative state. Humiliation is a negative state. And irritability is anger in motion. Explosive anger and aggression is abnormal. So I'll tell you what, there was a family who was irritable. बोलत ना होते कोणाशी, एक दूसरे से बात नहीं करते थे. और मुझे बच्चे का फोन आया 20 साल का. मैंने क्या करूं, सब एक दूसरे को काटने को निकले. मैंने कहा तुम एक मीटिंग ले लो शाम को. बोलो मुझे सब लोग एक साथ बैठिए, उनको एक पेपर दे दो, पेन दे दो, और उनको पूछो एक चीज which is disturbing you the most. And they all wrote fear of the pandemic. I will die. तुम्हारा क्या होगा? I will die. तो हमारा क्या होगा? And when they shared all the fears, the anger really dissolved. Apart from that, filter information. No news. Watch 15 minutes. When you watch news, you feel everybody will die. Everybody will be cremated. 85% of people get well at homes. Less than 2% die. Others come back from the hospital. And though I would say the situation is not good across the country. Bombay, there are enough beds now, enough medicines. ICU beds are still a problem, but there's enough in Bombay as of now, enough oxygen. So that is one. So it's important that you sit and talk and share. Now
And there's a continuation, how not let hinder your relationships as well, because you're not
yeah,
meeting.
absolutely. And then so anger also goes down when you excess dissolves fears and anger. Excess in antidepressant. Have you heard about black uh, black dog? Not the whiskey, yeah. Black Dog is a 4-minute movie by the World Health Organization. And it says that, please have a look at that movie. 4 minutes. Exercise is proved to be an antidepressant, brings down anger. It dissolves anger, fears, and tears. So that's important. Pranayama, it dissolves anger and fears. And at home also, there are something to Panchamrut. Exercise, yoga, diet, sleep, no chasing begums in the Netflix and Amazon, and kindness. And let me tell you, if you do this reasonably, things are calm. At times, you'll find that somebody is very irritable and still, whatever I've said didn't work. Probably he or she could be depressed because irritability is a sign of depression. Probably he or she is hypertension not under control because he's not gone to the doctor. Probably he or she is anemia, has anemia, less hemoglobin, less less vitamins, bad glands. So it could be a physical cause also. At the same time, sadness. Sadness is a positive emotion, depression is a negative state. So what do you do? Don't convert sadness into pity. Why me? When I'm in 12th, this entire pandemic came. I had planned to do my bachelor's somewhere else. I planned to go to Ireland, Australia. Why this? Hey, nothing. Yeah, the world is in a pause mode. They're hiding in a bunker from the virus, but not from life. And so it's important to accept that this is an unusual situation. And as the Guardian president said, we are locked in the house so that it's a quid pro quo to survival. I feel like going out and chilling out, but when I look at the eyes of my mother and father who are about 55, who have comorbidities, and my grandparents, I don't want to kill them, so I stay inside the house. So sometimes there's fear. And fear is so much fear that you can't sleep at all. They need to meet a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Sometimes there's so much fear that I remain at home, I'm not moving out. Isolation causes mood disturbances. Movement causes health. Movement. It's so important to move inside the house. At times there's so much news. What do? I filter the news. I don't watch news. I take news for 15 minutes, but I do something small thing inside the house all the time. I keep doing small things inside the house all the time. Is it distraction? Yes. Distraction causes space and improves health. But that would not mean you should be working 24 hours a day. Huh? Put your leg up sometimes. Have a cup of coffee. And elderly people, don't keep them alone. Give them little work. They feel nice about that work. They feel very nice about that work. So keep the family active as much as you can. Also, there are 3 data points for everybody. Lot of studies done across the world on interventions in the pandemic. 3 things have come up. Number 1, perception of safety. If the perception of safety is good, your mental health is good, which means I am taking my precautions. There are 2 vaccines. One is vaccine number 1, vaccine number 2. And the probability of me getting the infection is less. And perception of safety is the one indicator for good mental health. The second is social network. My connectivity. I'm talking to my friends. Remember whom to talk to. Huh? If you talk to a bunch of very anxious people, anxiety will multiply. But if you talk to a safe space, where you can be emotionally nude, गाली दे सकते हैं, कुछ भी बात कर सकते हैं, आपका माँ की आँख के वायरस किधर से आया? You can say absolutely safe. Go in with your safe space. Anxiety gets divided because laughter can destroy fear. Love without reason, cry with a reason. Families that cry together, heal together. Families that laugh together, live together. Extremely important. एकदम चेहरा पका के बैठने का नहीं क्या, खोपड़ा बना के बैठने का नहीं क्या. So important to laugh. And your mind, when I laugh without reason, my mother was 84, says, "Are you mad?" I said, "Of course I'm mad, little mad, illishi pishi." If you're a little mad, you're actually healthy. But you're too tight, everything correct, on the time, everything right, you're not well. You're not well. Then you're like Amitabh Bachchan in Mohabbat Parampara, Pratishtha, or Anushaasan, Gurukul ka niyam. Why? Imperfect mother, happy mother. Imperfect house, happy house. Imperfect wife, happy couple. Your house need not be on display mode, be it in a living mode. Kids sometimes play box cricket inside the house, sometimes they play football. And what is very important is the mother should not get locked in the kitchen. Here, all women, here, all teachers, they remember, and all the kids, boys and girls, tell your mothers, don't burn your candle from both sides. अपनी जिंदगी की मोमबत्ती दोनों बाजू से मत जलाओ यार. ये देखो कि वो सिर्फ अंदर न रहे किचन में. You guys also go not to make pasta all the time, and you can also make dal and rice. You know? Cooking rice is a very important dish. How many whistles? 3 or 4 or 5 if it's hard rice or red rice. So mothers inside the kitchen all the time are sad mothers, and the mother is sad, the family is sad. So you need to look at the small things to face the pandemic. But remember one thing: self-talk against the talk from the world. And self-talk is so powerful. What you tell yourself. B.K. Shivani says, what you tell yourself in the morning, at the start of the day, your prayers, your rosary, your tasbih, Naukar mantra, Gayatri mantra, whatever. And as you sleep, what you tell yourself, thanks for all what you have got. And I'm so grateful. And yoga nidra, shavasana, don't fight with anybody after 7 o'clock, no screens, no blue lights after 7 o'clock. And then if your sleep is good, you live longer. And eating, Swami Vivekananda said, eat less, eat more. What did he mean? If you eat less, you live longer, so actually you eat more. Thank you for the question, Mahesh Anna.
Thank you, sir. Sakshay has asked a question. When we say resilience, how can we use resilience to fight against dopamine craving?
Yes. Very good. Dopamine craving can be food, can be meth, MD, can be ice creams, brownies, pizzas. So there's something known as in psychology. I'm sure there's psychologists around in this conversation. Exposure and response prevention. So what we do is we call a pizza, full pizza. If there's solid craving of dopamine, you make the person sit and not eat it. Sit for 1 hour and watch all the thoughts, sensations, and the feelings. And as it comes, as it down, as it goes, as it down, as it goes on, slowly. We do it also with people who have dopamine craving of alcohol, and it slowly goes down, And then when you repeat it, then you know how to measure your food and how much ice cream you need to eat. So don't keep all those things in the house. We all in the family have a weakness for chocolate, so we don't keep it inside the house. So when it's not there, the craving actually goes down. And when sometimes after you do this exercise, after some time, when you need to keep a box of pizzas, you will not be able to. You don't feel like eating it. Sometimes hunger increases because of stress. Mahesh, hunger can increase because if you're stressed, you see all those pot-bellied guys, it's stress. Because when they are stressed, there are two hormones. One is the hormone to stimulate the appetite, hormone to suppress the appetite. The appetite suppressant hormone goes down, and the appetite stimulant hormone takes over. And at night you feel like binging, and so that's important. Dopamine rush you can get with exercise. You need to get it. Dopamine rush you also can get by doing something for somebody. Dopamine rush you can also get by doing something great. There was one slide which I did not explain. Yogendra Yadav, 19-year-old boy who climbed the Tiger Hill and conquered the hill for us. And this guy was a truant army guy, Subedar Yogendra Yadav. He was truant. He would always be the way he was. But on that day, he rose to the occasion. He was hit by 15 bullets as he climbed the hill. But he still went ahead and threw a hand grenade and neutralized the bunker and then killed 4 Pakistanis with his own hands. And that energy came. And people felt he died, but then he was recuperating in the hospital. He was I think the only person who has been given Paramveer Chakra when he was alive. Otherwise, generally it's given posthumously. 19-year-old, tumsa vayatsa, your age. 16-year-old, 15-year-old Shivaji challenged the might of the Mughal Empire when we were counting 11 fingers in our pockets. So it's all about the dopamine rush. The dopamine rush can help you rise to the occasion. It can help you beat all odds. And after everything's over, you would wonder how the hell you did it. No, you did not do it consciously. It came from within, and that I think is so important. When you read the stories of coming from within, and all you boys and girls were not born during the Kargil War, 1999. Read the story of Yogendra Yadav, you'll understand what her dopamine rush is.
Sir, next one is, can you explain the 5 P's you mentioned?
You are very smart. I want to check my memory.
Sir, I can
Patience, perseverance, persistence, pragmatism, and presence of mind. You know what? At 18, 19, you say, be patient, it will not work. Some of you are very patient, some of you are not. God is a champion of diversity. Man is a champion of structure. God has created a billion, trillion flowers as human beings on the earth. Patience is when you slow down, when you slowly become mindful of eating, you eat when you don't watch the TV, and you enjoy the food completely on all 6 senses. When you listen to your mother completely in full attention, you slowly become mindful and patient. Persistence means, Salah, maths nahi aaya. I tried that sum, I tried that account sum, I tried that chemistry, chlorine experiment, nahi gustai, जात नाही चम्मायला जात नाही. मी पुस्तक रात्री उशीचा खाली ठेवून झोपता. Keep the book below my pillow and sleep. I will crack it till I will not. I will crack it. Persistence. I will not give up. Don't do it with your girlfriend and your boyfriend. If they're quit, huh, boss. Don't be obsessively after them. Perseverance. So important. It's related to per- persistence. I have to finish my assignments. It is 15 page. I do not like the subject, but I'll persevere and do it. You know what, in life, exams are like the buffet dinner. You know, when you go for dinner, you look at all the food. Do khana acha nahi, par panch khana acha, and panch question aata, do question nahi aata, and you feel good about it. You don't like everybody in your family, extended family, but you still sit down and talk to the person. For perseverance is continuing doing things even when you are in low mood, even when you see that you don't like that activity. I go to work some days I don't like to go to work, but I sit down and persevere. Michelangelo, there's a beautiful example of when he was told to. I think he was told to paint the church, and there's a beautiful example you should read. He did it because somebody asked him to do it, and he did not like what he was doing, but he did it because his mother. I mean, we do so many things because our mother said, "Please go and do this for me." You don't like that person where your mother asked you, but you do it for somebody. So you persevere. Pragmatism being practical. I got a bed in Jumbo. I could not get a bed somewhere else. I'll put my father or my mother in the Jumbo and wait. If there's something else to be done, I'll do it a little later. Being practical. I really cannot get high marks in one subject, but other subjects I do very well. I'll consolidate what I know, and I'll chip and learn as much as I can in the difficult subject. And when you do all four, and when the bulb of your brain is shining, batti bujne gayi, the light in the brain is shining. Ultimately, the coconut is important in the pandemic. 1200 grams of brain, if it is lit, every cell lit, then you get creative answers, and that is presence of mind. And that is presence of mind. So it's so important that these 5 P's are very important to build resilience. And if we do it all the time, it's really awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. There's one last question here. Can you please explain again the amnesia for all you don't have and exaggeration for all you have?
Who asked this? Who asked this question? Is it a student
Sakshi
of
Jain has asked. Yeah, student has
is
asked.
she Sakshi? Okay. She was there. No, she introduced me or something. Same lady, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I can only say this. Remember your mom or your dad when they speak to each other and they fight. Remember on that day in 2008 when I came to your house for the first time, you shouted at me in front of your parents. I still cannot forget it. But she will not, or he or she, both father and mother, will not quote the so many other beautiful examples which have been there in life. So human race has this fallacy of accessing negative memories, and so there's amnesia of the negatives, of the positives, an exaggeration of negatives. So we need to correct that by asking the unconscious to give you all the positive memories in life. There are many, there are millions, and rewire those positive memories and consciously try and recall those positive memories among your family members, and not really access all the negative memories of your family. And that helps you to build a lot of resource in the mind, and it actually helps you to have energy, emotional energy bank become very strong, and you are able to face situations much better than before. And also, if you unconsciously think about the past all the time and all the negative, and it appears very big, and you feel very guilty, that's a sign of depression. You need to take help.
So just one last question now has come from Mittal Sutar. How to aid efficient stoicism?
Efficient
Stoicism.
stoicism, no, stoicism, STOIC.
Yes.
How to fight, or how
to aid efficient stoicism? How to help aid?
Help. Oh well, I don't know, but there's efficient stoicism or inefficient stoicism. But if you're continuously stoic, you need to crack that. And how to crack that? We don't try to change the personality of the person. I still remember this incident. There was first lockdown, and the son and the daughter-in-law were at home with their father-in-law. And the father-in-law was very stoic as a person, by nature. And the son phoned me up and said, "What the hell? We're all locked down, but my father, is very quiet, is stoic." I said, "It's okay to be shy. There's no need. I mean, there's no need to convert a shy person to an extroverted person." And people feel that people who are shy, they don't share feelings. It's a myth. And they believe that people who are extroverted share feelings. No. Extroverted guys might talk a lot. They are very gregarious, but they not share feelings. So he asked me, what should I do to help me and father converse with a lot of affection and love? And I said something good. I said, ask him, I want to know how was I behaving when I was in KG? And the father slowly started, and said a lot of nonsense. What he would do, I would chase you with a glass of milk and you would not drink. And that's what he would say. And that's what he would say. And that's what he would say. And slowly, the father also started sharing his own story. But sometimes you need to be stoic. In distress, in very great distress, a leader may be stoic to really arouse the nation to do great things. In an extreme crisis, if you listen to the speeches of Abraham Lincoln and many others across India, across the country, also abroad, the stoicism is also necessary to get the world around you as one team. And a lot of people here should read the book Team of Rivals. It's based on Abraham Lincoln getting all his ministers from the entire clan who opposed him and opposed him in elections. He got all his rivals, and that's a beautiful book. But efficient stoicism should not be always present 24/7. Sometimes it is very, very, very useful in times of distress, but it should only last for a very, very short time.
Thank you, sir. So that ends our question answer session. And we come to the panel.
Panel is absconded.
Angela?
Yeah.
I don't see the camera, so I think they're all gone. They're cooking at home.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of all the student participants, I, Angela and Raju, deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion.
You have to
First,
twist your phone like this. I can't see your face. You have to do Now you can do cheppu cheppu.
first and foremost, I would like to thank our guest speaker, Dr. Harish Shetty, for delivering such an amazing session. The topic you spoke, which is about resilience, is really important in today's condition. The capacity to recover quickly from difficulties is very much needed. As you rightly said, the support we get from friends and family members help us to bounce back to life with a brighter connectivity. We should feel safe and seek out for help. The 5 P's of life which you mentioned, that are patience, persistence, perseverance, pragmatism, and presence of mind, are really needed for achieving resilience. Thank you, sir, for being with us and answering all our questions. I extend a heartfelt gratitude to the management of Wilson College for being encouraging and supporting always. Deep gratitude to our principal ma'am, Professor Anna Pratima Nikalje, for her constant support and encouragement and for being the driving force behind all the programs conducted by our college. Special thanks to our IQAC coordinator, Dr. Radhika Virmule, for gracing the occasion. Thank you, Foresight Jazz, our collaborating NGO, for providing us with the live streaming platform. I also appreciate the efforts put in by our Cooperative Education Program Committee towards organizing this event. We are really grateful for the support and encouragement you all have given us. Last but not the least, I would like to thank the audience for participating in such a large number. I request everyone to please fill the feedback form. The link is posted in the chat box. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you,
Thank you so
guys.
much,
All the
sir.
best.